Hi friends, welcome back to QA University video tutorials. Today's topic is object identification in Selenium IDE. So object identification mechanism in Selenium IDE, it is not only for Selenium IDE, we can use the same techniques for Selenium WebDriver also. So the agenda of today's topic is object identification. So what is the object and how to identify those in the application. So we will discuss it clearly. Before that, we need one small plugin to know about the object identification mechanism. It will help us to identify the objects. So that is the prerequisites for our today's session. The prerequisite to the today's session is we need a firebug add-on. So to install that, just go to your Firefox browser. Okay, just click on here and click on add-ons. Here you can search for firebug. So just click on enter. Okay, select your firebug and just click on install. Already I have installed firebug in my Mozilla browser, so that I am not installing now. So this is the add-on. So apart from this firebug add-ons, I have Selenium IDE button, WebDriver element locator. These are the add-ons I have installed in my Firefox WebDriver. So this is the firebug. So our first requirement is completed. So this is the prerequisites to understand the object identification mechanism. So the next one is web elements. What are the web elements? Okay, so to understand it clearly, so I am just clicking on Google sign-in page. Okay, here I am clicking on create account link. Yes, here we can see many of the features like first name, last name, email, password, okay, confirm password, birthday, mobile number, and here is the next button. Here is some image. Okay, this is the button, this is the image. All these are elements in the application. So for Selenium IDE and Selenium WebDriver perspective, each and everything will be treated as a web element. So web elements are anything. It's an object in the application actually. So here is the text box, here is the button, here is the image. So we are differentiating by saying this is a text box, this is a button, and this is an image. But for Selenium perspective, everything would be the object or web element. So I am just listing down what are the available web elements in the general applications. The first one is text box. Okay, next one is drop down, third one is link, fourth one is some button, fifth one is some image, etc. So friends, generally we are seeing these web elements in our applications, right? So for example, text box is username is a text box. For drop down, country is a drop down. Generally in our applications they are mentioned country as a drop down to select the required country. Link is anything like create account is the link. Button is, it could be anything like OK, cancel. Okay, image is, it can be anything like we are seeing Google homepage have some image. So we are separating this. This is in a text box, this is a drop down, this is a link, this is a button, this is the image. But Selenium is identifying everything, each and everything as a web element or an object. So Selenium treating everything is a web element. This is a one web element, this is one web element, this is one web element, this is a web element. So how the Selenium will identify these web elements and how it is segregating. This is a text box, this is a drop down, this is a link. That we have to provide our artificial intelligence to the Selenium IDE or Selenium WebDriver. So now I'll show you something. I'm sorry. So in this page, the developer will develop this first name, last name, email, create password, this drop downs, and this next button, these images. So how they are developed this? By using HTML page, HTML language. So I'm just clicking on F12 to understand how it is built. So here you can see HTML. This is the format. So this is the front end UI and this is the back end HTML to show these elements in the application. So now I will look at one element, then you can understand how it is built. So already I installed firebug in my application so that it is showing this cursor. Just click on this cursor and move to your application and just show or click on the element which you want to identify. So I am just clicking on this first name text box. Now it is highlighted. Now we can see some properties here. Okay, here input is the tag, HTML tag, and ID is the property name, and first name is the value of this property. ID is the property name and value is first name. Here you can see class is the property, and form-error is the value. Type is the property, text is the value. Spell check is the property, false is the value. So by giving some properties and values, they are defining this is a one text box. Okay, so I'm just giving here this text box have some properties. So now we'll see what are the properties available for the web element. Here my web element is first name text box. Okay, now identify some properties and values of the first name text box. We are seeing those. Here we can see ID, class, type, spell check. These are the properties. So ID is the one of the property. Class is another property, and type is another property name. So I have taken only three property names: ID, class, type. So the values of ID is and the value of class is and type is the text. Okay, so here we can see that this is the web element, first name is the web element, and here some properties of this first name text box: ID, class, type. By using these properties and values, we can identify the object in the application. So to identify one object in the application, we required locators. Another important word is locators. So locators are nothing but these properties. So ID is one of the locator and class is another locator. So I list down the available locators: ID, name, class, Xpath, CSS Selector. Okay, below are the locators. These are the type of the locators. By using these locators, I forgot one more thing, link. So by using these locators we can identify the object in the application. So now we'll see how to identify those objects by using Selenium IDE using these locators: ID, name, class, Xpath, CSS Selector and link. We have 6 locators. By using these 6 locators we will try to identify those elements. So I'll just rewind everything. I have just installed firebug add-on to identify or to locate that object in the application. And what are the elements? Web elements. That means each and every element or object the Selenium will be treating as a web element. The types of web elements are text box, drop down, link, button and image. Many more we have, so I have listed some. So I am taking one web element, that is called text box. The name of the text box here is first name. First name is the text box. But this first name text box Selenium will treat as a web element. I just listed down what are the properties and values available for this first name text box or first name web element. Okay, ID, class, type, these are the some of the properties and values for the selected web element. And here I just mentioned different types of locators to identify the object in the application. So by using this ID, name, class, Xpath, CSS locator and link, we can identify those objects. We can apply these locators for any type of the web element, not only for the text box. We can also apply these locators for drop down, link, button, image. We can identify any type of web element. Okay friends, now I'll discuss ID, name, class, CSS selector, link, and I'm not discussing now Xpath. Xpath is a separate section. The next session will be completely on Xpath tutorial. So now we will discussing about ID, name, class, Xpath, sorry, not Xpath, CSS selector and link. Now I'm just going to the, I'll just refresh the page. I just clicked on Google and clicking on sign in. Now here you can see there is a text box and one button and one link. Okay, there is some image also. Now I'm just launching the Selenium IDE. I'm just stopping the recording mode. Okay. Here we can understand the importance of the find button in the Selenium IDE. If you given any locator in the target text box and clicking on find, if the locator is valid, then it will highlight that particular element in the application. If it is not valid, it will show the error in the log file. So by using this find, we can identify elements in the web application. Now I'm just right clicking on this email and I'm selecting inspect element with firebug. This is the option we can get after installing the firebug. Okay, right. So it is directly highlighted the details about the email text box. This is the email text box. So here we can see ID and name and this type. We can also use this type autofocus placeholder as a locators, but in different manner. But now we will discuss about ID, name and class. These three. So ID, name and class locators we will use as it is. Okay, what it means, ID, name and class locators we can use as it is. That means we no need to change anything by using these locators. How? I will show you now. I'm just launching this. Now I'm using ID locator. Okay, ID locator. For this ID locator I have to provide the value of the ID. Now I want to identify this enter email text box by using ID locator. So for that I just clicking on or highlighting this by using firebug. It is highlighted with this. Now here you can see ID. The value of ID is email. I'm just copying this and here I am pasting. So this is the syntax to identify any object in the application by using ID locator. ID equal to the value of that particular property. So I'm just clicking on find. Just observe this one, email, it will be highlighting. You can see here, yeah, it is highlighting with the yellow color. Okay, in the HTML code also it is highlighting with the blue color and yellow color. Yes. Okay, this is the way we can identify the object. And next important thing is name. Name also we can use directly. Now I am taking name is my locator type is equal to what is the value of that name property. Paste. Now I am just clicking on find. Yes, it is highlighting. And also we can use class. Here we don't have a class tag. Yes, here I have class tag. I'm just copying this class tag is equal to, this is the value, RC button equal to submit. This is the value of some object. I'll click on find. If it is available in this page, it is enabled, then it will be highlighted with the yellow color. It is highlighting somewhere, just it is available on the page but not enabled. So I just go to sign in page again. Just here clicking on create account. Now I'll try to identify some other object which is having the class tag. Here not there. Here the class tag is not there. Yes, we'll try with this class. Now remove take this class attribute is equal to placeholder text, copy and paste here. Just click on find. Yes, it is highlighting the first name drop down. So ID, name and class locators we can use directly by using the equal to operator. So ID equal to value of the ID attribute, name is equal to value of the name attribute, class is equal to value of the class attribute. Okay, so this is the syntax. We can use this syntax to identify that object. Later we can perform some operation on that. Okay, now I am not showing any operations on this. We just concentrating on how to identify objects in the application. Now the next one is link locator. To use the link locator we need the text of the link, not ID. Now we'll see, here is some link and we'll go for Google again, it's better. Just click on sign in. Here you can see create account. Create account is a link. To identify this link we can use the link. Okay, so I just highlighted, go to this, here link equal to link text. Using firebug, just identify this. What is the link text? Here you can see create account is the link text. Okay, just copy that and paste over here. Just remove this white space. Okay, just clicking on find, it will identify. Right, you can observe here it is highlighted with the yellow color. Okay, so that when you use the link locator you have to provide text of that link, not with ID, not with name, not an ID, name and class. Okay, directly we can provide text of the link. And next important thing is CSS selector. CSS selector. Okay, this is another mechanism to identify the object in the application. So for that I'm just going back to Google. I'll check whether it is available in the application or not to identify this. Yes. Okay, so here is the syntax for CSS selector. Okay, the syntax is HTML tag hash value of the ID attribute. Okay, this is the syntax to write the CSS selector locator. Okay, CSS is equal to HTML tag of object, next hash and the value of the web element, ID attribute value, not any value, only we have to take ID value. So we'll see now. Here I want to identify this Google search. Okay, this is a text box. Here I have ID and I have a input tag. So as per our syntax, I have to give the tag, I have to mention hash, and I have to give the ID value of the ID attribute. So now we try to write CSS is equal to, here I am taking this input, okay, input, put it hash symbol, and what is the value of ID? Here we can see ID is equal to, it is opened in another format. I'm just closing. Again I am identifying this object using inspect element with firebug. Now you can see, yeah, input ID, value of ID is equal to gs hyphen, paste it. Just click on find and observe. Okay, it is highlighting with yellow color. Yes. Okay, similarly we can write for anything. We can identify this object. Here there is no ID. Here also there is no ID. I'm just clicking on sign in. I'm just right clicking on this email. Here available ID is available. Okay, just taking another one. CSS is equal to input is the tag name hash, the value of ID attribute is equal to, right, just click on find. It is highlighting with yellow color. Sometimes this yellow color will not be visible, it is highlighting the code. There is no problem. Okay, this is about object identification. So here I have discussed about ID, name, CSS selector, class name and link. So these are the syntaxes. If you want to use these attribute as a locator, then you can use directly up to this ID, name and class. We can use directly by providing the value of that particular attribute, and for the link we have to provide the link text, not with ID, and CSS selector. For this CSS selector, this is the syntax: HTML tag, hash, and value of the ID attribute only. We cannot use this name, class, link. This is the one of the pattern, we have to follow it. By using these techniques, we can identify those objects in the application, and we can write the script, and we can also perform some operations on this identified objects. Then only our script will be executed. And Xpath, I will discuss it in detail in the next session. And friends, this is all about object identification mechanism. One more thing I have to mention. Yep, class name ID equal to email. Okay, so I covered all these locators. Okay, thanks for watching.